asked, how do you prevent yourself from getting robbed or conned by someone who's masquerading as a police officer when in reality they are not? You know, when they're in uniform, you can tell, uniform badge, police. But when they're in plain clothes, you don't know DCI, flying squad, police, or thug. There's no way of knowing. In 2013, the Standard published an article in which it said, look, there is this loophole, this gap that makes it possible for guys to go conning, robbing people, pretending to be police officers. You know, something needs to be done. There needs to be identification badges, especially for those plain clothes, so that they can, you know, be known. And these badges should be done in a way that cannot be forged. You feel me? The spokesperson last year said, when you're approached by plain clothes, they're supposed to produce something called a certificate of appointment, which he himself produces every time when he's not in uniform. So that is how you know this is actually a police officer. No certificate of appointment. Bye.
The recent arrest of one veteran journalist, Mr. Macharia Gaido, has brought onto the forefront a lot of issues that need to be discussed about the interoperability, authority, autonomy, and independence of any government state machinery. Because people cannot believe that this is actually a case of mistaken identity. How do you do this to a person who is already inside a police station? There are already a lot of speculations, and the National Police Service to come out and say that it was a mistaken identity makes it even worse and questions a lot about the authority of how intelligent their service is.
This is not an isolated event that anybody can say that it was a mistaken identity. For the DCI to trail serious data has been analyzed, profiling has been done, risks have been assessed, timing has been agreed, and how to execute that matter.
So we came to current police station to look for help. We drove right into the station, but those two cars followed us right inside and forced me into their car, a white. I was sandwiched between two men in civilian clothes. I was handcuffed and I was assaulted. They were demanding to know why I was resisting arrest. And I told them I was not resisting arrest, I was resisting criminals. I don't know who you are. You have not identified yourselves. And up to now, as far as I am concerned, you are criminals. But I had them mention DIC headquarters. Then after some long conversations, they decided to turn the car. We stopped here, just across the road here, near the Shell petrol station. That is the time they asked for my ID, and I gave it to them. They looked at it. They said, "You're the Francis Macharia Gaido?" I said, "Yes." One guy got out, made some phone calls, came back again, asked for my phone number. I refused to give it to him. They had previously asked for my phone also, which I did not have with me because I had left it with my son. After another long telephone conversation, they came back and the guy sitting behind was asked to remove my handcuffs. Then they told me it was a case of mistaken identity and that I am free to go. They did not explain how it could be mistaken identity. They did not explain how they could have trailed me right from my home or near my home if it was indeed a case of mistaken identity. So as far as I was concerned, those were still criminals. Anyway, they brought me back to Karen police station from where they had abducted me in the first place, and they went away.
It's quite a dark day that I've been summoned to come and deal with a question of an illegality being committed by a state agency. I have now full instructions from all the stakeholders in the media industry to pursue this matter legally. The circular of the Director of Public Prosecution rests the responsibility of investigate police abuse, police misbehavior on the office of the IPOA. From here, we shall record a statement, a complaint at IPOA, because that is the constitutional office allowed to deal with this matter.
This is rather a tough assignment, is it, that you have given unto yourselves of oversighting the police service? And do you think that there will be successful conclusions or end to this request that you have rolled out to the public?
It's a tough assignment indeed. We want the public to also know the circumstances under which we are working.
Yeah.
The authority can only do as much because we have a mandate, and our mandate is in law and it is restricted. And we also don't work on our own. Once we carry out our investigations, there are other agencies that will necessarily take over. We are working under very tough conditions. We have not seen the level of uncooperation we are seeing now from the police commanders, senior police officers, because we have sometimes to go back to them, for instance, to get certain documentations that we cannot move without. But we have since found a very hostile environment where our officers, when they go out, they are not getting any information. And when we give out summonses, they are not responded to. And we need to have deployment schedules. We need to have arms registers. We need to know where those arms are and on whose hands.
Yeah.
So if we don't get information, if we don't get cooperation then from the senior police officers, then it will appear like we are doing nothing. It's also non-cooperation from other government institutions. We have been visiting health institutions like the Kenyatta National Hospital.
Okay.
Also trying to get medical records of those involved in demonstrations, and those that we think their injuries are related to gunshot wounds. And the institutions are not giving us the cooperation that we require.
Okay.
My good friend here tells me he was living at home. And as they were driving out of the home, suspicious vehicles started trailing him. So as they were trailing him, they knew who they were trailing. They were not trailing a ghost. He immediately sensed, being a veteran journalist, and instructed the driver to rush to the nearest police station. The speed of the car and the expertise of the driver and the instinct of Macharia saved him. Had he been intercepted before he reached at the police station, the destination could be either quarry, dumping site, could be anywhere where nobody knows. Still, the trailers had the audacity to come to the police station and manhandle Macharia Gaidho. If you can see, these are injuries. This is what the law says, that torture was banned in this country. This is what was said, that the police will only be allowed to use reasonable force if the person being arrested resists. Macharia Gaidho was within the police station, within the police premises. The law, the police standing orders, the Criminal Procedure Code provides for the manner in which a suspect is supposed to be arrested. Nobody is saying Macharia Gaidho cannot commit a crime. He can't commit a crime. He's not above the law, but the law must be applied. We shall institute a suit to compel IPOA and the National Police Service Commission to interdict the police officers who are involved in the act that has been committed to one of the journalists, a prominent journalist, a name in the industry that anybody cannot claim that they do not know him that they went for him with a mistaken identity, bringing him before a police cell for him to be transmitted to court. So we shall be moving very swiftly today to implement the two legal instruments available for the citizens of this country.
We are not criminals. Kazi yetu ni kufahamisha mwananchi kile ambacho kinafanyika. Kazi yetu, makosa yetu ni kubeba microphone na kamera. Kumfahamisha mwananchi kuhusu kile ambacho kinafanyika. Hatubebi bunduki, hatubebi mawe, hatubebi rungu. Kwa hivyo unapochukua risasi na kumpiga mwanahabari, unapochukua pingu na kumjeruhi mwanahabari hata bila kumfahamisha kwa nini unamjeruhi, ni kusudi lako ni gani? Labda hawa polisi tuwakumbushe Article 49 of the Constitution. Sijui kama wameisoma kuhusu haki za yule ambaye anakamatwa. Unastahili kumwendea, umuulize sababu za kumkamata ni gani. Wakili yuko hapa atazungumza. Ni haki za kwa yule mnayemkamata, mueleze kwa lugha ambayo anaielewa kwa nini unamkamata, jitambulishe kwamba wewe ni nani na umueleze kwa sababu kusudi gani wewe unamkamata na nia ambayo ama hatua ambazo utachukua baada ya kumkamata. Si kuweka mtu kwenye gari kama gunia.
What would happen to an ordinary Kenyan, unknown, whose face is not known in this country, if it can be done to a senior media personality to this? Is this an isolated attack on the freedom of the journalism, the freedom of the media? It is not. It is a well-choreographed attack, systematic attack to make sure that the media does not discharge their mandate. The fourth estate is protected by the Constitution of this country. It is protected by the statutory provisions of this country.
This guy, though, as far as I know, does not drive a car that resembles mine. It is me they were looking for. It is me they were trailing. Does this cow you? No, we cannot be cowed. I think we were there during the struggle against the one-party dictatorship. If we resisted Moi, who are these ones?
You intend to sue?
Yes.
We shall be seeking that these cannot be police officers. These must be extrajudicial people appointed to execute illegal orders.
The police are clearly breaking the law because it's clear that the officers, even those in uniform, are not displaying their name tags and their service numbers. And secondly, those who are in civilian clothing are also putting on hoodies and you cannot tell who they are. So we as an authority are suspecting there's a specific unit that is being sent out there, apart from now the ordinary deployment, to go and commit atrocities. So we are very keen to know what happened in Parliament, who was in Parliament, but we cannot get such simple information like CCTVs. When we go to the executive, we begging the IG, we are begging the Nairobi commander to give us information on the platoons that are on the beat so that we can know who to pick on and how to carry out our investigations. If we do not know where the platoons are coming from and we do not have their names and we do not have their numbers and we do not have arms registers, then it is sabotage against the Independent Policing Oversight Authority.